Good morning. Well, today, instead of showing you something that has gone on that someone else has done or something of that nature, I'm going to take a little stroll with you. A customer came in this weekend. He's been a long-time customer. As he came in the door, I saw he had this case in tow. I knew what it was immediately. So let's take a look to see what it was I saw when he opened the case up. Also, I want to tell you at this point, we're having a real problem with this camera and the lighting in here with sunburst. This sunburst doesn't look anything like it did. So I'm going to have to look into that. We're having a real hard time showing you any sunburst because in this case, with this particular guitar, it looks like a really bad spray can sunburst, but what we've got is probably about a ½ inch in here to 3/4 of an inch. We've got a dark brown red, then we have red, then it fades in, then we've got an amber in the middle. Of course, this isn't showing that. This camera is only seeing red and yellow, so we'll see if we can get around that in the near future. But getting back to the point now that that's been said, I divide my career at this point into 3 points. The young and dumb guitar slinger, the only slightly more intelligent guitar builder, and then in the last 20 years or so, trying to be a professional repairman. This comes from near the end of my guitar building phase. So let's take a look here. At that point, we were using a lot of Kalers. This gentleman, when he asked me to build this guitar for him, wanted something along the lines of a solid body jazz guitar. So I talked him out of a Bigsby. We put a Kaler on it. At that time I was using a lot of shallower pickups, mainly because of the 4-hole mounting. It was very secure, it didn't wobble around much. I will also tell you that this guitar was built using a radial arm saw, a band saw, a router, and assorted hand tools, and of course a drill press. A fret slot cutting jig. All the inlays you see here, his parallelograms, were hand cut. So this is the way I saw the guitars that come in. It's been 27 years since I saw this guitar. Apparently he's been playing it. He probably wouldn't have brought it in except he had a couple broken strings here, or one broken string, and he says that the bow end is locked. Yep, there it is, jammed down in the Kaler. So we're going to have to dig that out. So let's go over here. I was hoping in a little bit darker area here that maybe the burst would come out a little bit better, but it's not. So let's mosey on over here to the workbench and let's take a closer look in some light. Okay. We had a curly maple front. I remember sawing that out of lumber. We have a curly maple back. Boy, there's just no way to make that sunburst show up. This little cavity hides the veritone that he wanted. You can actually see some of the burst a little bit better on the neck. At that time I was also using a lot of Goto tuning machines. we have our little hidden serial number right here. This is actually number 20. Number 17 lives in the area. I've actually gotten to work on it quite a bit. About 2 years ago, I was fortunate enough to be able to refret it. These guitars were done probably about 5 to 7 years before I started using a neck jig, which we will also mention at this point. The customer, when he brought this guitar in the other day, said it still plays great, plays like it did the day he got it. He mentioned the fretwork was superb on it, which, you know, to me, knowing now what I know at this point and the way I do fretwork, this looks, you know, pretty primitive to me. But anyway, I've made the comment several times that I'd like to get every guitar back that I ever built so I could burn it. There was the logo I was using at the time. The headstock was a basic variation that I come up with off of sort of a Washburn type headstock and a Dean Baby headstock. It was all pretty much designed at this point to be able to use a router to shape it rather easy. Get back down here again, we'll take a look. Of course, here's a Veritone. Somebody felt the need to put inlays on it for the indicator marks. I remember cutting those inlays. Did the same thing for the indicators for these knobs. You can see them right here. He also mentioned it had a couple chips and dings in it that his brother had put in it. It's a pretty nasty one right here and here. I may do something with those to keep it from getting worse for him. You know, even though I have a hate-hate relationship with these guitars. We basically took a body style of like an L6S. I remember talking to him at the time, trying to talk him into a carved top on it because I was doing a lot of carved tops at the time, and I think it was an expense issue. As I remember, I think his guitar cost about $800. So, what I'll do is get on with this then. I've got some repair work to do to it. I'm going to clean it all up, restring it, touch up his dings there, try to get it cleaned up. Looks like there's some residue on it. Oh, it's greasy. Yep. Feels suspiciously like fast fret. Or no, finger ease. Yep, finger ease. Haven't seen any finger ease for a long time, but that's what it feels like. So, I'm going to get him taken care of, get on with this job, get him shaped up. Actually, it has stood the test of time fairly well. So maybe I'll find a way to get a couple other photos of it, maybe not. But I'll get back to you and get this finished up. Okay, we're back and we have this finished up. All in all, considering, for something that I've not seen for 27 years, it's held up really well. The finish has held up amazingly well. I'm really surprised how well it's done. At this point, I was using nitro and hand-rubbed stain sunbursts. A lot of that I was doing. For the electronics on this, we actually have single coil taps. The Veritone works really well. So you can channel your inner BB if you want. All in all, for something that I'd like to douse with lacquer thinner and set on fire, it's done pretty good. The owners never liked me to say anything like that. As I said earlier, I have a hate-hate relationship with these guitars. At the time I was doing this, I was running a repair shop. I was building some guitars. Something I learned not to do. Probably about the time this guitar was built, I was turning the corner and actually starting to do some really good work as far as neck carving and all that. The finishes were coming about. The sad part about that is probably within 5 years of the time this guitar was built, I vowed I would never build another guitar. Part of my problem with all that is you would spend a lot of time trying to suit someone on a build, because all this stuff is custom built. You'd spend a lot of time finding the right grain fingerboard form, or mixing the right color transparent blue, or sourcing obsolete pickups that a few months after they got the guitar they'd yank one of them out and route it and then your name's on it. Or something had shown up on a used rack in a guitar shop. I had one instance where a customer had sold a left-handed guitar that I had built for him, his left-handed Explorer. It was built around a set of Seymour Duncan mini humbuckers that he had taken out of his Les Paul Deluxe, and he just wanted to do something with them, so we built him a guitar. As I remember, I sold him the guitar for $280. Turned up on a used rack a couple years later for about $750. A metal player from the area bought it, proceeded to call me up and ream me out for why would I build a guitar like this and put mini humbuckers on it. Well, it wasn't built for you. Some of the guitars were parted out. You never really knew. It was one of those things that other than the first thing somebody would want to know is how many letters you could inlay on the fingerboard, which meant, no, I am not inlaying your name on the fingerboard for the guitar. But anyway, lesson learned. Like I say, within 5 years of the time I built this guitar, several more guitars were finished. I swore off building and opened up this shop a few years later, solely doing guitar amplifier and speaker repair. So, just another chapter. Don't mean to sound bitter. It's just one of those things that you live and you learn. So, I hope you enjoyed this. Like I say, I wasn't picking on someone else today. This is my own stupidity. So maybe we'll see some more of these. There's a lot of them around. Number one actually just made an appearance a couple weeks ago on my Facebook Messenger. I've not seen it for quite some time either. So, until next time, I hope you've enjoyed this. Be nice to everyone and be well. I will see you later.